The next part of the oblique plane is trying to find the true shape of an object that's on the oblique plane. Okay, so what that's really looking for is just looking, when they say an object, it means a shape that's sitting on the oblique plane. Okay, now in the book you'll see that there are four methods. So the first one is the rebattement of the plane. You have the rebattement of the plane in method 2, which is just another way of doing that same thing. We have the third one, that's the auxiliary elevation with rebatment. You'll see what they all have in common is that they have rebatment. Now we're not going to be using any of those three. We are going to use the last one. So we're going to use a second auxiliary plan. Okay, now the reason that we use that one rather than any of the other ones is because we are using auxiliary to do all of our different topics, and auxiliaries, as I said before when we are talking about oblique planes, that auxiliaries are something that are relatively universal and they can be used in anything, whereas the rebatment method for this or lots of other methods for other things just can't be used in everything, whereas auxiliary lets us do pretty much any kind of a topic using the same method. So what we have with this is that you'll see here that there are two auxiliaries. So you first of all you have your elevation and you have your plan, and then you'll see you have a first auxiliary here, okay, and then you have a second auxiliary. So there's a second auxiliary here, okay. Now what you have with those is the reason that there are two is because what we're looking for is the true shape, and to be able to find the true shape of anything we have to be looking along an edge view. So we'll have seen that before in other topics, but we need an edge view of an object to be able to then be able to see its true shape. So what we have here is that this is just a continuation of the construction that we looked at when we were looking at the true inclination of an oblique plane. Okay, so this first part, this first auxiliary here, is that construction. So that's giving you the true angle of that oblique plane, okay, to the horizontal plane, okay. And after that, then, because the way that construction works, we have then the edge view of that plane there, okay. So we have that edge view there, and what we have then is, because we see it as an edge, we can then look along it or look in at it so that we're looking in this direction, in at the auxiliary, in at this view, to be able to draw our auxiliary up here. So what we're looking for then with this is, for to be able to draw that, is to take our x1 y1 line, or x2 y2 in this case, and we are going to put it parallel to this shape, okay. Then what you're looking to do then when it comes to it is everything's going to be projected up into this auxiliary up here. Where you're taking your distances from then are then two auxiliary views back, so two views back. So what you have with this is that if you're sitting in this view, okay, so if I go from this view, if I go back one view, okay, two views, okay, we're going to be taking our distances from this view, from the xy line in between these two. So back 1, 2, and then our auxiliary, our distances are going to come from the x1, y1 line back. So what that looks like then is that when these are projected up, so if I'm looking at A2 here, what we have is that when this is projected down, the distance that you're taking for A2 is the distance from the x1, y1 line back to A, and then going from your x2, y2 line up to A, okay? If you're looking for your C, then your C would be coming from your x1, y1 line to C, and then that distance is going on to your x1, y1 line over here up to C, okay. And then finally then, when you're looking for your B here, you're going from the x1, y1 line back down to B, and then from your x2, y2 line up to B, okay. And that's always the same for everything. So whenever you're looking at an auxiliary view, you always go back two views and then take it from the x1, y1 line, or the xy line between those two views. So that's where those distances are coming from. So the green one, the yellow one, and the blue one, okay. And then once you have that, then you have your second auxiliary here, which is showing your true shape of your object, okay. And you see that there, and that would be that kind of question done, okay. The next part then is that if we go and have a look at the example, for this one, the example that they have here, they're using the rabattment method for this, but when we're doing it with the auxiliary method, what we'll be doing is using the auxiliary method. So we're looking for this first auxiliary. Okay, what you'd be taking then is you would be taking an x2 y2 line here, okay, parallel to this side, so they're parallel to another, so that would be called x2 y2. Okay, then we go back two views. So if I'm going back two views, so this is the view I'm working in, I'd be going back one view, two views, and then I'm taking from the xy line in between, yeah, so the x1 y1 line in this case. So if I'm looking for example, A here, I would project from my A coming from here, I would project up in this direction. Okay, then for my height, then what I would do is I would take my height from the distance between the x1 y1 line here to A. Actually, let's just make that a bit brighter. So I'd be going from the x1 y1 line here to A, and then I would transfer that up on my x2 y2 line up here, whatever that distance was. Okay, the same would happen then for if I was going to project another one. So if I was to project let's say number 3 here, I would take the distance from where 3 hits the line down here down to number 3, and then I would transfer that up to the line that would be projected from 3 here. So if I come to here, so if you were to project up your number 3 up in this direction, it would actually even be a little bit further than that. So for the sake of this, so if I was to go from 3, because our distances are a bit longer, we'd be projecting up, and then I would be able to then put my distance onto that for where 3 was going to go. Okay, and then you would get the true shape of it like they found the true shape of it over here, but you would find it over in this view instead. Okay, when you're taking this auxiliary, all you're looking for is the shape of the side that you're looking for. So this green one here, you wouldn't need to take everything else. Okay, so just the ones that are along the line here that's giving you the edge view, and that will give you the true shape of your cut surface when you're looking to do it.